There is a war going on in the WNBA, and it is much needed. Hopefully, it ends the right way. We've talked about this briefly here and there when we've talked about the fact that the WNBA, if it wants to take that next step, it's taken it sort of with the CBA, but now it has to solidify that. And to grow further, it's got to make a lot of changes. We've talked about the players and their attitudes and how they act in terms of the fans. We've talked about Kathy Engelbert. We've talked about owners like Renee Montgomery and the lady, I keep forgetting her name, at Washington Mystics, and the way they act. And of course, we've talked about the WNBA media, which we were awoken to early on in Caitlin Clark's career, how bad they actually are, because they are just activists. They are not journalists. They are not reporters. They did not get hired for those reasons. They don't know how to do a reporter's job. We all saw it when Shams broke the CBA news, and they were all up in their feels and upset that somehow a WNBA reporter didn't get the scoop. Well, there's a reason. It's like, oh man, I can't think of his name. It was Anthony. I think it was Anthony Davis, right? When he heard about that he was traded, he went to Sham's page to confirm it. That's how much their trust there is. That's the kind of job that Shams has done with the NBA. We have none of that in the WNBA. They're basically part of that social club, and they're completely unprepared for all these new fans who are actually basketball fans and demand the same level of professionalism with the reporting that they get in the NBA and the NFL and Major League Baseball and the NHL. And we don't have that, and we've seen that all along, but now it's been specific to the fact that they didn't break anything with free agency. Not even, so and so's visiting here and so's looking at these teams, and there was nothing. There was the balloon company that sort of broke the idea of NECA signing with Minnesota, which we don't know yet. That might just have been a welcome thing. And so we're getting a lot of this, and blocked by Nat Fluential. I was blocked by Nat in Caitlin Clark's rookie year, actually. And again, it is just like this. And I think it was Ken Swift who pointed it out too in a post. Said Nat blocks anyone who disagrees with her. Well, that in itself right there is piss poor reporting, right? You can't have a conversation or have a debate with someone who has a different opinion. Apparently, it's gaslighting and disrespectful to point out the fact that they don't actually do anything. Every post on her page, even her pinned posts, isn't one of hers. It's just retweets or quotes. That's not a reporter. That's an ex-user. See the disrespect. Y'all been on her gaslighting for the last 24 hours. So what is it you'd say that you do here? All I see on your page is reposted. What exactly do you create that a 16-year-old with an iPhone doesn't? She isn't a journalist. She's trying to file Jamel Hill, just be an activist. And that's the problem with pretty much. Look, that there are a few good ones. Okay, don't get me wrong. But again, look at who one of the good ones is, who's not solely a WNBA reporter. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't classify that, but wait, Christine Brennan, we all know. And we all know what the WNBA players tried to do to her when she actually asked a legitimate question of a player, something that never happens to them, because the reporters have always been activists like the players. They're part of the same club, so you're not going to have them ask difficult questions. And Christine Brennan, they tried to get her credentials revoked and basically get her fired from covering the WNBA. So now that right there was a great example of, hey man, maybe we ought to work on the coverage in the WNBA. She's an idiot. Don't know how she even calls herself a journalist. Worst free agency in sports history. You probably get more news in tennis. But we could read a lot of comments like that. But I got some other things I want to hit. I've got a ton of tabs open, y'all. So I'm just going to go through some of the stuff that we need to talk about. All I hear is that I ain't got that motion, which is fine. Shams will come through for us. Only difference between we the fans and so-called W media is the tag. Because here's that, W reporters don't want to get far, because why aren't they getting scoops when the whole league is free agents, basically? And because to get scoops, you need to build relationships, and most WNBA media do not work for full-time outlets, so they have to fund trips themselves. Hmm. And even those that do aren't necessarily permitted to fly around and go to teams and build relationships with players and team execs. So oddly enough, nowadays we have things like email, phones. Phones have been around for a long time. Even right, FaceTime, Zoom. I can't remember the name of the Google one, but there are a whole lot of things where you can even sit down and have chats face to face. You can cultivate contacts, just like a salesperson can do a phenomenal job sitting in an office too, and maybe meeting face to face once in a while, but you can cultivate contacts and relationships without going out and traveling. You absolutely can. It's part of the job. Okay. So you actually, everybody has worked tough jobs that seem to require a lot more than what you feel you're getting paid to do. That's not an excuse to not do the job. As this person said, do you feel you've not fostered enough relationships to pick up the phone and call some of these and teams at this point? And then she deflects again. I'm not a reporter or newsbreaker. So yeah, that's clear by just reposting stuff. You're an activist, Nat. We all know what you are. You have an agenda. I've fostered those relationships as irrelevant. It's not my job or what I'm interested, nor what I'm interested in doing. And players have friends, so others may learn stuff, and because they are not media, they can speak freely in a way that we can. This is some wild. This is some wild stuff. Oh, what else we got? We're gonna go. We gotta talk about Nat one more time. Ultimately, there's a broken system, but there's too many WNBA reporters spending today getting defensive instead of realizing both perspectives are valid. Agents and teams like a broken media ecosystem. Oh, I don't know about that, but also got to do some stuff. LOL, both sides are not valid. I'm sorry, not co signing that. Expecting people to do a better job without resources is what rich people tell poor people. Holy crap, I told you, low IQ activists. We're not going to validate silliness over here. Oh my God. Who expects NBC to save us? I work there. That is not an expectation I see. Well, you should have no problem getting your stuff done. We are doing it ourselves. But what you're saying is impractical. There's only so much access you will be granted, and there's only so much of your own personal funds that people can spend. And she goes on and on with stuff. Yeah. So let's go to that. By the way, Vision was actually at the hotel covering those when they went into those like everyday meetings. So other people could have done that as well, I'm guess, and giving it to Megan Hall to USA Today. So you just retweet, got it. You don't investigate, you don't report on sources, you don't break news, you just retweet. And I love this. And I had similar thoughts and kind of talked about it, but this is so good. And Annika is a supporter of the channel. We go at it sometimes, but we're always able to move past it. Hey, man, no one's ever going to agree at anything, and it's kind of fun when you can take some jabs at people and have disagreements, and it's not going to blow up and become this absolutely major thing, and you just move on and you have conversations on other stuff that you agree on and well. So anyway, because this is 100% true, and I've got some other stuff to talk about with Roberta as well. But this is 100% it. Baby girl, stop using your feelings to get in the way of your job. This is just one of the demarcation points that separates the old WNBA from the new WNBA. New fans and new eyes on the league require new professionalism, not whatever the F it is that you're doing here. Get lost. Also, shout out to Annika. We talk about this a lot. I'm a lover of words. She is as well. Demarcation, 10 points. Love it. Fantastic. Because here's what Roberta pointed. We've got some stuff. I'm going to finish up with some stuff Roberta has said in the past about Caitlin Clark to give you an idea of the quality of the reporters in the WNBA. I'll be very real with y'all. One of the reasons I hold off on breaking some of the free agency news I have is because I experienced a smear campaign in this app where people lied to discredit me, even though I was telling the truth just because they didn't like the truth. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Um, let's see. We've got some other things here. Maybe we'll get. Oh, this is just. This is kind of funny. This is another problem with the WNBA media. Christina, who I follows, she has like 25,000 followers. I think she's an Emmy Award winner. Speaking as an independent journalist who built an award-winning career breaking WNBA news, there are levels to this. And the response, apparently, effing not of a balloon company beat y'all dumbasses to the scoop. Absolutely wild. And then we have oh, hold on, let me find it. Let me find it real quick. Christina has now protected her posts. Award-winning women's basketball host and reporter, Forbes 30 under 30. And this is solely because she's probably getting a little pushback, or just see in terms of the fans wanting a better level of professionalism from WNBA reporters. And look, I get that the money is not in there from these outlets in terms of covering the league, but this is what I've said before. We've seen what the CBA is. We see ratings going up. There has to be a commensurate elevation in the professionalism and coverage from journalists, from the reporters, from the media. The league won't continue to grow. They go hand in hand. The media has to step up their game. There's no excuse for this. And then I have, where is it? Let me go. Yeah. Let's go to this one because Ken's got it wrapped up here pretty good. I'm mentioned Ken here before. This is, again, Roberta. A couple of things Roberta has said. I already read the top one. Caitlin Clark behaves and exists like a white teenage boy, including using the privileges that come with being one. White teenage boys don't have any privilege right now, man, but I ain't even going to get into that. It may be all giggles among the teammates for now, but getting your mostly black teammates to babysit you and finding it funny, especially when they start getting texts themselves as a result of your actions, has a really bad ring to it. WNBA reporter, folks. WNBA reporter. This is the quality of work, because she's not a reporter. She's an activist who has a whole lot of feelings and can't handle being professional, can't handle being a grown up, can't get out of those feelings. It's ridiculous. Right. And then, that continues. It says, she is surely cool about being de escalated, but had things to say about being fouled. She sees players being destroyed in her name and doesn't do anything about it. What the hell are you even talking about? That's what makes it impossible to appreciate Caitlin Clark beyond her basketball, especially when you have players who are much more poised than her being called the most terrible things. What players would those be? The ones with all the hoaxes and the racial slurs, the one taking cheap shots and dirty plays and trying to beat her up on the court, the ones like Natasha Cloud who can't put together a coherent sentence together because she's not intelligent enough to do so, the unlikable players like Nafisa Collier, Alyssa Thomas, Dejanay Carrington, who tried to get a Uber driver arrested by making a false claim of him trying to kidnap her. Are these the players? Are these the players that we're talking about, Roberta? I'm just curious. Let me know. And, here you go. I think Annie did this, man, was it rookie year or was it last year? I can't remember. But thought this was appropriate to bring up again. Annie Cook with this. I think it's because there are a lot of stands posing as reporters in the women's sports space. Nailed it, Annie. Absolutely nailed it. Look, I've had criticisms of things Annie's reported and said. Like I said, people have disagreements, but to be fair, when she nails it, she nails it. And I'm going to say, hey, good job on that as well. So Annie absolutely nailed it there 100%. But yeah, so it's been kind of wild watching the fans call out the WNBA media, and it is absolutely deserved 100%. There is no professionalism in the WNBA ecosystem. And I guess you could say there hasn't needed to be, because for 30 years, the NBA funded it and no one paid attention. There had no fans. No one watched. It was a social club. When I say they had no fans, they had a few people who would show up to games, but they were the same activists as the players and the media covering. And like I keep saying, it was basically a social gathering. It was a social club. It was a get together. That's what they used the game to have the NBA pay for those social gatherings. But guess what? Caitlin Clark joined the WNBA. A whole lot of actual basketball fans followed. and they have the same expectations of the WNBA that they have of the NBA, that they have of the NFL, that they have of Major League Baseball and the NHL and MLS and whatever other major league that you can think of that's at that level. And that by no means am I saying that's perfection on any of those, but there is definitely a level of professionalism that they have that the WNBA does not have. And sadly, from all of this, it seems like the reporters want to fight tooth and nail against that they're all up in their feelings. And how dare you attack them? And they're going to move goalposts and they're going to be condescending. I won't even get into the other one because this is getting long of a thread I saw that was just ridiculously condescending. In fact, let me. I won't get into the whole thing, but let me just see real quick if I can find the actual. Oh man, maybe I closed it. This was it. I love y'all, I really do. But this is about to be a teaching moment for some of you who don't quite understand that all media members are not created equal. Uh, yeah, so right off the bat, there you go, dripping with condescension and dislike for the very fans that allow Tarika to have a job. Teaching moment because you're too stupid to understand what we do, and we're amazing. So don't criticize us. Absolutely wild. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. I can't believe this got so long. Hope you all enjoy it. Watch it. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the 19. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to y'all later.